Yo, what's good, GridIron gang? It's your boy Los the Shark. We back at it again with another podcast. Um, a new one, man. It's been a while since we've been on. Say what's good, Tano.
What's going on, man? Long time no talk.
Man, it's been a while, man. With the stats, what's good, Swan?
What's up, brother? It's been a while, but we back in this piece.
Like we never left. Man, interesting season, bro. We didn't move up to next gen. We on next gen since the last time we actually did a pod. But man, what are y'all thoughts so far on this particular Madden?
So far, I mean, everyone's gonna probably say that is garbage, but it does take some adjustment. Is very offensive driven. I would say the defense needs to some tuning, whereas last Madden was a little bit better when it comes to defense and all that stuff. So this is actually the first pod with the new game as is. So this is the first time we actually get to talk about the new game because me personally, I just think that it's all offense, no defense. It's kind of hard to play defense this game. Me personally.
Yeah, I'd have to probably agree. I would
I
say
would
the
agree with that
offense
too.
needs more tuning, though. Like, because them power runs is pretty much a damn touchdown anytime you pull a guard. So they
Man,
need to fix that, if anything.
I kind of, I like the direction that they're going. I'm not gonna lie. I can't. I mean, as far as the mechanics of the game right now, definitely some bugs they need to fix. But I mean, I understand them not wanting to put any more money into this current game. They're probably prepping for 22 as far as our comments and stuff are concerned. But I mean, I like the direction in which they're going. I kind of see what they're trying to do. Definitely need a lot more upgrades, like y'all said. Definitely defensive wise, a lot of the user stuff. Definitely get some. You definitely got to get used to it. But I mean, for the foreseeable future, I mean, this is just what we have to get used to until 22 is concerned. But man,
I personally
moving.
like the user. Like the user, I like how slow it is in a sense. Like if a linebacker is quick enough, he can get to a couple routes. To me, it's just the surrounding cast, like the linebacker recognition and everything around it is bad. Because you could be, if theoretically you could actually play the actual zone that the linebacker is supposed to play without playing center field as you could in the last matches where you could play, the middle linebacker could cover the whole left side.
Yeah,
Whereas this one, you got to pick and choose. You're gonna go deep. You're gonna go short. So I like that factor. I just don't like the surrounding cast where you're going right and the dude throws it left just because your left outside linebacker doesn't even know he's got to cover the flats or the curls. So that's the annoying part.
the AI
Or,
recognition.
I definitely
Mm-hmm.
feel
I
like
can
they
feel
are
that.
prepping for the next one because they brought this out, fucking what, January? So they're prepping for the next
Yeah,
one.
they ain't gonna they ain't gonna give us no break on that,
Should I hope
man.
so?
So moving on to the playoffs, man, playoffs this year. So as far as how we can break this down, Tano, what the playoff picture looking like, man?
Well, I will say, thank you for all the new users that have been active. There's a couple people in the playoffs, with probably the exception of one that is actually a user that acquired a team that was a playoff team. And that's if he makes it, depending when we go to the NFC picture of it, we're going to start in the AFC. But, as far as that, every single player that is in the playoffs in the AFC, has started since day one. And that's a great testament for being a new gen, recruiting all these new guys. I mean, we did it pretty much. If you guys, I don't know if you guys can think about it. We did like a 15-person overhaul from the guys that were not, still haven't gotten the next gen. Your brother still haven't gotten the next gen, right?
Yeah, I
Correct, Lowe's?
noticed. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So,
noticed.
we lost him, we lost Kid, a couple of the old, the bets, we would say, and we did an overhaul. And even with that, I mean, we're still being active. So we can just start out to say like that's actually pretty cool that we're getting people to be as active as they are. I mean, it's the first
I
season,
talked
so
to
hopefully they stick
Spence
it out.
yesterday, and he was saying how he still ain't got the 5 yet.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it'll be crazy because whenever they finally get it back, we'll have a really good waiting list, and we can now at that point pick and choose. But that's neither here nor there. But so the AFC picture, right? So we have it's set. It's pretty much set. The matchups are pretty much set. Maybe the Chargers game, but from me looking at the head head to head with the Broncos, I think is going to be pretty much 1 through 7 is going to be as follows. So we got the Colts at 1, the Ravens at 2, the Broncos at 3. Actually, let me say the names of the users just because there's a couple new people in there. So Rico, Colts, myself, Ravens at 2, Big B, which is a new user, Broncos at 3, Bills, which is Hunter in the worst division we could have at 4. 5, the Jags in J Flow, 6, Reese with the Chargers, and 7, which was the playing game, was the Browns. As far as the playoff goes, I mean, the Colts have pretty much dominated the AFC. I mean, myself included, I played him early on in the year. He seems like he's going back to the old Rico, well, the mid Rico, because the first Rico we met, he sucked ass, then he hit up YouTube. This is a combination of the both. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen any YouTube stuff, but his change is definitely pretty dominant. And then myself, he's going into the playoffs, was the #1 seed with a 4-game winning streak, their highest scoring offense, and what's really helping him out, his defense is extremely solid. He's got the #1 scoring defense in the AFC. Then when we go to myself, I lost the last 3 out of the last 4 games. Horrible game against the Bengals. My last game, they pretty much dominated from start to finish, which is a good testament to what the division is going to be in the coming up years, because I lost against him. I also lost against the Jags. Steelers was pretty close. And then my matchup in the playoffs, which is going to be the Browns, I lost against him. But I have the Ravens have the highest scoring offense with 585 points. Extremely inconsistent. I would consider myself extremely inconsistent this year. And with that also being said, I have the most allowed points of the playoff teams out of those 7 teams. Even though I'm the 2nd seed, it just happened to be because some of the other people are beating each other up. The Broncos are #3. Looks like the defense pretty much carried them to the promised land. They also beat the Chargers twice to solidify the division. This past week 17 was the last game against the Chargers. They're coming in winning 3 of the last 4. They're #1 in the division. The Ravens are #1 in the division. The Colts as well. The Bills are going to enter the playoffs at 500 at 8-8. I don't know. There was a point where it was, I believe it was 6-6 or 6-7 or something like that, where Cali and the Bills were pretty much playing for the playoffs. I don't know. Maybe Cali pulled off strategically. I don't know. Maybe he didn't feel his team was ready, but the Bills carried that one. The defense pretty much is carrying the Bills. They actually have a pretty good defense, everything considered. The Jackson #5, some key wins against myself. They actually have the 2nd highest offense in the playoffs as far as the AFC is considered. And then, but they pretty much haven't, the record is attributed to 2 losses to the Colts, which is going to be the #1 seed. Then we have the Chargers. In my opinion, out of the playoffs, probably the Chargers may be the weakest in the AFC as far as the playoff teams, even though they're the 6th seed. They lost twice against the Broncos, coming in at 2-2 in the last 4. They have the bottom 3 offense in the AFC. They just can't score very well, but they're actually #3 ranking defense points allowed. So that's pretty much what's doing really well for them. And then the Browns, they just won the last game against the Steelers to pretty much be able to be the 7th seed, and they are #2 in their division. So that's as far as the AFC. You guys have any thoughts? I don't know if you guys were able to watch any games or anything like that. We're actually also doing a really good job of casting all those games, so we're able to tune into some of the games. I don't know if you guys were able to see any of those people.
Yeah,
I didn't see any of them.
I watched some of the games that was going on during the season. I mostly agree with everything you said. Rico is back. Rico is strong. The Jags,
YouTube
though,
himself. I didn't know he was back in
right.
the league.
The Jags for me is a sleeper team, man. Those guys are solid. Knowing I'm in the same division with both those two guys, I would say those are the are definitely the sleepers, underdogs coming out of the AFC. Uh, but that's in my opinion. Moving to the other side, what you got over there, Tano?
The NFC. All right. So we have this hasn't been set. We're just waiting on one game, which is the Seahawks and the 49ers to see who's going to be how the playoff seeding is going to be because the Cards and the 49ers will have the same record. Will one be 5? Will one be 7? Is the seventh, the person who's in the 7th seed currently going to be booted out. But as it stands, we have the Eagles at number 1, which they have the best offense in the NFC, as well as they lead the NFL in offense with 684 points score. And that's Coach Sniper over there. He has a 4-game winning streak. His best record in the NFL right now at 15-1. His only loss has been to the number 2 seed right now in the NFC, which has been the Packers, which is tied. Third best offense, coming in at 3 with 3 wins of the last 4 games. But within those 3 of the last 4, the one loss is a key loss against the Bears, which if it finishes the way that it is, I mean, the seeding could be a little bit different because the 2, the 3, and the 4 seed, they all have the same record. So I don't know if he'll go by strength of schedule or anything like that, but that'd be weird sometimes. So 2, 3, and 4 could actually flip-flop because of that last loss that the Packers just suffered. We have at number 3, we have Rams, which is Kenny. I mean, we can go back to when we were doing the podcast last year, and he was the Jets, and most people would jump in the podcast and be like, he's not solid, he's not solid. Well, he did it with the Jets. He's doing it with the Rams. Maybe he's finally now showing that he's that good player that I personally thought he was, but then he kind of fell off at the end of last game. So we'll see where he goes now. But he's got the second leading defense in the NFC right now. He's got a 4-game winning streak, and he had just a key win against the Cards, which he won by 1 point. So that's actually pretty good to see. Even though that the Cards has been a pretty much barnhill door where we just can't find a user for that team. This one seems to be a long-standing one. Only time will tell. But he beat that user by 1. We have a number 4. We have Bucks Malone Yako with the second best offense in the NFC. 4-game winning streak. He also beat the Falcons twice. Your man Ion Swan, in order for him to maybe miss the playoffs. So he's pretty much showed the ownership of that division, possibly eliminating Ion. You're in his division, and the Saints. So he pretty much dominated that division, and he probably single-handedly booted Ion out of the playoffs. I know that's kind of, everyone was been asking for rivalries in the chat. We got new users, but as far as the all bets, that's a rivalry that hasn't really been declared as a rivalry, but they don't like each other in the
balling.
game. So.
Yako's been balling, but he did take a loss to Carolina early in the season. So I don't want to say he dominated the division because he did get his cheeks clapped by Carolina. So he's putting that out there.
I mean, not to defend the man, but he's 13-3, and I don't know where Carolina stands right now.
I said he's balling. He's balling, but I know his weakness.
This is good. This is good. We'll see what kind of reply he's going to have if he hears this out. See what he's going to tell you about that one. Number 5, we got the Cards. Coach ATK. Now, as I mentioned earlier, revolving door. We don't know if he's going to stay. If he's not, but Kenny, coach of the Rams, said that he was actually a pretty good user. Bring him in the league. So we'll see. So, I mean, there's only time will tell. I don't know what he's going to do, who he is as a player. But what I can say is that the Rams have been doing pretty well this season, standing at 13-3, and he only lost by a mixed extra point or by just 1 point. I didn't get to watch that game, but the score was 36-37. So that's good testament to him. We got number 6, the Chicago Bears, in Kyle. It's nice to see Kyle in a division that he can compete. With that being said, probably Ty will win in the next coming years because he's got Aaron Rodgers. It's kind of this game, as I mentioned earlier, is all offense. If you have a good quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers can get the ball out fast, like stupid fast. So it's kind of hard to beat a team like that. But it's good to see Kyle because I had him last Madden in my division, and we kept flip-flopping 1-1 each season, but I mostly won the division. But it's good to see in a division that he's going to compete when he's got Sergio in that division, and now he's got what's the man?
Trent.
Is it Trent? So that's gonna be a good fun division to watch once Trent gets the Lions for a full year. Sergio without the Cowboys. Is he showing his true colors? What Hogan, the coach of the Falcons, is saying that he can't win without the Cowboys. I mean, needless to say, when Sergio plays without the Cowboys, he doesn't make the plays and he doesn't do as well. So this is very interesting to watch. But as far as the Bears, he's got the most points allowed in the playoff team. So that means he's giving up, just like I am giving up the most points in the AFC, he's giving up the most points in the NFC. He does have a key win against the Packers, but he's also 2-2 coming into the playoffs. One of those wins is the Packers, and the other one is the Jags, which the Jags we mentioned earlier was a good user that you said, Lowe's. But with that being said, he lost to Sergio with a 5-1 team. So is he just as inconsistent as I am? He's probably one of those toss-up teams that if he wakes up that day and they're playing, he's good. If he doesn't, he's not going to be able to sustain it. Now, the 7th seed, we got either the Falcons, the Saints, or the 49ers. They all could be potentially tied and see who's going to enter the playoffs. My prediction is the 49ers actually beat the Seahawks. 49ers get into playoffs. Reason being is because the 49ers, even though they're still fighting for a playoff spot, they actually got the best scoring defense in the NFL. So he doesn't allow many points. If he can just get that offense going, could it be that he's getting I know that he didn't just get the team, but he was one of the users that kind of joined with the 49ers season, and I believe he's the one that acquired Dak Prescott. So he's probably now just getting his feet wet and being able to manage that team. But as far as that, I think 49ers will probably win. And if that's the case, that will set up the matchups for Packers versus 49ers, Rams versus Bears, Bucks versus Cards. And in the AFC, we have Ravens versus Browns, Broncos versus Chargers, and Bills versus Jags. Lowe's, if you don't have anything or you guys don't have anything to add as far as the NFC, maybe we can predict who's going to win that first round. We don't have to go round per round, but maybe who wins that first round and who wins each division. I mean, if each conference, if you guys would like to talk about that.
Yeah, I can go first. As far as the AFC is concerned, I'm hoping that the Bills gives the Jags a good game, so that he could stay solid going in to the AFC Championship, where I ultimately think he's going to go. I don't see the Broncos or the Chargers beating the Jags. Of course, I see him meeting up with the Colts. I do see the Colts. I do see Rico pulling that off, but that's going to be a good game. And in order for that to be a good game, he's going to need consistency to get there. So that's going to be a good game between him and the Jags, in my opinion. Now, as far as the NFC is concerned, I ultimately think that it will switch up a little bit, as you mentioned. And as far as the NFC Championship is concerned, I think it's going to be Ty, and I think Ty's going to move to 3, right? Depending on how.
He could potentially move to 3 because he just lost, and Bucks and Rams won, but they're tied at 13-3.
Right. So I see him actually making it to the NFC Championship, playing the Eagles, and I ultimately see the Eagles taking them this year. From what I've seen, as far as consistency is concerned, although Ty beat him once, I think the second game the Eagles overcome, and I think he pulls it off. I ultimately think he wins the Super Bowl, in my opinion.
All right,
Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
I personally have first round. I have Ravens, Broncos, Jags. Jags beating the Bills. After that, depending on the seeding, the Ravens versus Jags game speaking without me being the Ravens coach. Ravens had the ball twice in the 1 yard line, and he turned into Marshawn Lynch Super Bowl type thing that he could have just ran it in and did it. So if he gets that same opportunity, will he run it in? Will he still do the dumbass decisions that he made? That's really the reasons why that game came down to be so close. 2 opportunities and 2 interceptions on the one. So that's kind of huge. But agreeing with you, I do believe the Jags is the sleeper team in the AFC. For considering the fact that he has the Jags and the overall and everything isn't what they're supposed to be, he's actually doing really well with a couple of the trades that he did to get his team better. I have ultimately Colts versus Ravens in the AFC, or Colts versus Jags, but I still believe the Colts are going to go to the Super Bowl for the AFC. Now coming to the NFC, I have Packers winning the first matchup versus either 49ers or Falcons. I have the Rams beating the Bears, and then between the Bucks versus the Cards, now we know that Yako could be a great regular season player, but outside of the season where he beat me in the Super Bowl, he really hasn't shown himself in the playoffs, which is the reason why he's Carmelo. Maybe we should stop calling. I should say that stop calling him Carmelo because he finally won a Super Bowl, but I would say that the Bucks could win, but I think the Cards, just like the Jags are the AFC sleeper team, I feel the Cards are the NFC sleeper team, just by the way they play the Rams. So maybe he gets a couple more games under his belt, gets to figure out that team. Maybe he can surprise what it is. But ultimately, just like you were thinking, I actually don't think the Eagles is as good as he is. He just hasn't really played the hard matchups that he needs to play. So I have the Bucks or the Rams versus the Packers in the NFC. And I think the Packers are going to come out of the NFC, whether he plays the Bucks or the Rams. And I have Colts versus Packers rematch. And in that one, I feel the Colts is going to take the rematch. So that's me personally.
That's a nice prediction. That one will be good to see.
And it's crazy because I just put I could screenshot the paper. I put Colts versus Packers, and I have Packers winning. But thinking about it, I think that Rico is good enough to make the adjustment. The only reason why I really think Ty would win that second matchup or ultimately win the Super Bowl is, again, going back to my statement that this is such an offensive-driven game. And I've been in another league where I have Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is nearly unstoppable if you know how
once he gets going. If you're in the rhythm, especially, it's gonna be hard because it's playoff tie. I mean, he ain't trying. I mean, he's gonna be focused.
He's gonna be focused.
That's what I'm saying. So it's gonna be hard because
it goes to the point where you said Rodgers is so good in this game. It's the same thing with Brady. And Yako's in my division, but I'm gonna give him credit because I did beat him, but Brady was hurt. When he played me with Brady, it was bad. It was like 70-0. It was crazy. Couldn't do shit with him. It's the same thing. I play Ty and Brady and Breeze, Rodgers, all those guys. When they get hot, they're hard to stop. So Yako with Brady, I have faith that my guy's going to come out of the NFC. He's going to whoop. He's coming out the AFC.
You think the Bucks are going to come
NFC.
out? Ooh.
I think the Bucks is coming out.
Okay.
I don't know the Eagles. I seen he ran the ball a lot. He's not doing that against Devin White. The Bucks are loaded. They're loaded. His safety led the league with 15 interceptions. His linebacker led the league with tackles for loss. Like, he's getting you on all aspects of defense. And offensively, they have too many weapons. So your boy Karl Malone is emerging.
That's the only edge. Yeah, the only edge I give is just because historically Yako hasn't been doing well in the playoffs. Now, if this was another user and you look at the 13-3 and you break it down just like you broke it down, I will probably agree with you. But just knowing that he's so inconsistent in the player and he gets so mentally consumed because I know that if in fact he gets to be Bucks versus Packers, mentally, Yako probably goes into that game losing. But if it's Bucks versus Eagles, probably Yako wins that game because he doesn't know Eagles. And mentally, Yako would be like, oh, just another game, just another user. But if you put that is Ty in that game and they historically been in the same conference and Ty has beaten him and, he has struggled versus Ty, I think that just mentally will get him. I don't think it's the skill, it's just mental at that point.
Yeah, I can see that, but playing with the Buccaneers is so easy in this Madden. And I played Ty, and he doesn't have Devontae anymore. I think Los has Devontae. So most of his stuff goes underneath. Yako has guys for that underneath stuff. So I'm just saying, the Bucks are loaded. Yako's playing good. I got Yako coming out. The Tampa Bay Bucks going to the Super Bowl and then beating Rico for his second Super Bowl championship.
Oh, okay. That's a very interesting take.
So as far as this season has come, and we're wrapping it up, I think the playoffs, hopefully it'll go by fast. Hopefully the offseason will too. But as far as what guys have done so far, what those Swan stats looking like?
So top quarterback production. So we did have a guy break the touchdown record in Matty Ice, but I got him at number 3 quarterback play. He threw 58 touchdowns, which is the record, but he had 45 picks. Top quarterback, I got to give it to Rodgers. 49 touchdowns, 23 interceptions. He had 72% completion rate. Then Eason for the Colts, Rico's boy, 44 touchdowns, 22 interceptions, 72% completion rate. So they played almost identical. He had a way younger quarterback. So like you guys said, he's back on his stuff. So, and it's showing in the stats. Running game, Joe Mixon led the league, 1,800 yards, 18 touchdowns. But Aaron Jones for Ty had 1,826 touchdowns. And I told y'all, a lot of his stuff goes underneath.
Yeah, that guy, Bengals, we literally just finished playing a game, man. I will tell you, those 298 yard carries, they're no joke. He does 298 carries, so I gotta get ready to defend the run when you play the Bengals, because he had 25 carries alone in my game. Like, that's all. He plays old school hard-nosed type football.
Well, I think Eagles might be on that same boat because he had 1,628 touchdowns with Miles Sanders, who actually led the league. Nobody really knows much about this guy, but he's getting the dubs. So, top receivers matches along with Matty Ice. Julio Jones had 1,818 touchdowns. The Jets rookie Mims had 1,717 touchdowns. So, that's who's that? Goddamn Cali. So he might just be trying to build a superstar over there because I don't know what his record was. But he got
6
the
and
second
10
receiver. And then Sergio's tight end, Irv Smith Jr., was 3rd in the league at tight end with 18 touchdowns and 1,700 yards. Top defense, Devin White, 106 tackles for my boy Yako. Myles Garrett led the league in sacks with 18. And then Antonio Winfield Jr. for Tampa Bay also tied with Adrian Amos with 15 interceptions. Amos had 6 touchdowns off of those 15 interceptions, though. So Green Bay is bringing it on defense. They're bringing it on offense. So it will be a tough matchup, but I'm still going to give it to Tampa Bay. And that's what I got.
Man, appreciate that. Crazy season in my opinion so far. A lot of guys made a lot of bold moves. A lot of guys did a lot of trades. So this playoffs is going to be interesting. I can't wait to see how it shakes out. I hope everybody get those streams up. Definitely can't wait to see it. Tano, Swan, you guys got anything?
No, absolutely not. I mean, it's been, like you said, it's been a great season for, like I opened the podcast saying, it's great to see all this 15 new guys. I mean, if they were 15, give or take, But to see all those 15 new guys pretty much applying to the rule, I don't think we have had a rule issue. I mean, the whole cool down has been great for commissioners because it makes it so much easier. I mean, you can just look.
Yeah,
You do
that's been
that.
helping out.
Yeah, I hope Madden keeps that. That needs to be a feature that it just stays from here on out until they stop making the game. It just makes it easier for us to make it more sim. And as far as like rule breaking, I don't see any of the new guys breaking any rules. Like there has been a really, 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 really good season. I'm interested to see how it's going to end up. I mean, it gives us also a good playing field to see. And it took so long to even pull this one out. And I know that it's kind of hard. We didn't even hide someone jump in or anything like that. It's just because we're just so unknown of the users. But now next season, going to season 2, and as it transpires next season, we're able to see who's who and hopefully get some people to join us out, which is makes it more engaging and more rivalry style podcast that I know everybody likes. But it's just, we don't know. But like again, like Lo said, I mean, it makes it great because now we're seeing all these new people, and we're like, just like Lo said. I mean, I think Swan said, I mean, who is this guy? The Eagles, where he come from? Like literally just at a recruiting group, he comes in and pretty much dominates the league. So is he going to win first year and dip, or if he's going to win and stay with us forever and then become another GridIron great, shall I say? So I mean, it's exciting, man. I like to see what we have going on. Definitely.
Cali did kill one of my players. Apparently, I broke a rule.
Yeah, outside of that, but
I should get revenge.
Cali be on it though.
Yeah, we do be checking. But I mean, outside of that, I'm just talking about normally by this time, even the first season, we will have Ion breaking every other rule. I mean, if he makes the playoffs, this is probably the first season, myself included. I mean, everything. Like it has been just a smooth selling where it's just we don't even have to jump. It has been probably 1 or 2 instances where I had to reach out to some of the new guys because they're still, love putting up stats and pushing that threshold of, oh, if I'm up 28, can I keep scoring type of thing or keep taking stats? I mean, building on the stats. The stats, hopefully we try to prevent it, but again, it's a video game, so we can't really control that. But as far as like scoring and like all these blowout games, all he has taken for me to reach out and be like, hey, we don't really do that. You're up 28. Kick field goals. If they score 1, then you're no longer up by 28. Then you can score again. But outside of that, just don't be winning like somebody beat Swan back in the day, 90-7 or something like that.
Yeah, I took a couple bad losses.
No, man, it's been great.
Well, that's what's up. That's all we got for this edition of the GridIron podcast. Good luck to the guys that made it to the playoffs. We out.
Peace.
Peace.
Perfect.